Hello, people of YouTube land and followers of the Cridge Crew Gaming Community Discord, and those that follow Ted and I on Twitch. I am Traductus,
And I'm Ted.
and this is the Bond movie review podcast by Cringe Crew Gaming, where I, a James Bond fan, introduce the entire James Bond movie franchise, unofficial films as well, to Mr. Newbie Casual Ted Green Eagles here. And today, we're, even though this is the 19th episode, 20th if you can include our bonus episode, this is the official 18th Bond film, the second Pierce Brosnan Bond film, Tomorrow Never Dies, released in 1997. This is the first Bond film to be released after a longtime producer of the Bond franchise, Cubby Broccoli's death. So there's a little tribute to him, as in loving memory of Cubby Broccoli. So this one is entirely in the reins of his stepson, Michael G. Wilson, and his daughter, Barbara Broccoli, who will continue to produce the Bond films up to like present day. So far, unless something happens in between, No Time to Die and whenever the hell the next one's going to be made. Because, spoiler alert, they go from making one every 2 years after making them every year during Connery's term. And then it ends up being under Daniel Craig's term. Yeah, let's just do 2 a decade. So maybe that promise might happen. Who knows? They say it's gonna be a while before they pick someone and make another, Bond film. So they're still kind of figuring out what the hell they're going to do. But anyway, this movie had a budget of $110 million and brought in $333 million. It's predicted that it could have been more. However, the issue was, and this is also why this is the only Pierce Brosnan Bond film not to open at number 1 at the box office. It opened the same day as Titanic.
Not helpful.
Which is probably why, I remember seeing trailers and back in the day they used to have specials like making of this movie. I remember seeing that for Tomorrow Never Dies, making of Tomorrow Never Dies. I've also remember seeing advertisement for the video game that I just heard nothing of it after it came out. I never saw it on TV. I never, it was like a fever dream to me. It was like, okay, where's Tomorrow Never Dies? Oh, World Is Not Enough. Okay. So, it was like I said, a fever dream to me, and I didn't watch this movie until when Quantum of Solace came out, so 2008, where I was confirmed, yes, this was an actual Bond movie. Weird?
Maybe a bit.
Yeah. Now it's all over the place. Because before, they would only show this on TV for when a new Bond film came out, they would play them all in succession. Now this movie's everywhere for whatever reason. We'll get into why it's probably that reason. But anyway, this is the becoming up at this time. Actually, no. Yeah. With the whole entire box office grossing, it is the 4th highest grossing film of 1997.
Which I guess isn't bad if it releases the same day as Titanic.
Yeah.
Pretty respectable.
So I guess we're going to get into directing. This one is directed by Roger Spadiswood. Originally they wanted to bring back Martin Campbell back from Gold and I, but unfortunately Martin Campbell decided to direct The Mask of Zorro instead. And ironically enough, um, that's going to be a factor when we get into casting. But so they end up choosing Spadiswood because, well, he was the second choice for directors after. If Martin Campbell didn't do Goldeneye, they were going to go with Roger Spadiswood. So they did, with this, it's like, well, let's get the other guy. And while we get into casting here, and by the way, this is a completely original story. The Tomorrow Never Dies does not come from like a Bond movie title, and unlike Goldeneye, which is a reference to Ian Fleming's like home, and The World Is Not Enough, which is like a Bond um comes from like the Bond novels, as in that's Bond's family motto. I have no idea where they come up with Tomorrow Never Dies. So all I can just picture is that it's just a cool name. But casting, all right. So we're gonna go here. All right. Jonathan Pryce plays the villain in this movie. Jonathan Pryce is known for his role in Terry Gilliam's comedy movie Brazil, but most people would know him as Keira Knightley's father in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay. I hadn't put that
At
one
least I,
together, but
yeah, at least I think that's him. Hold on, let me check that. I just saw Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm like, oh, he's definitely that guy, and it's like, what?
yeah.
No, it brought me to like the franchise as opposed. I'm trying to.
Show prep strong.
We're doing this in the morning, so we just kind of woke up and.
Oh no, there's
Yep, yep, yep,
Wiz.
yep, yep, yep. He's Governor Weatherby Swan. Yes, yes, Keira Knightley's dad. Okay, I was right. Okay. And originally he was Elliot Carver was going to be played by Anthony Hopkins, who was supposed to be playing Alec Trevelyan in the in Goldeneye, so they really wanted Anthony Hopkins to be a Bond villain. However, Anthony Hopkins is like, yeah, I'm gonna be the original Zorro in The Mask of Zorro, so have fun, guys. So they end up getting Jonathan Pryce instead. Uh, Also, for the one of the two Bond women here, we have Terry Hatcher as Paris Carver, who is uh, Elliot Carver's wife, and also James Bond's ex. And we're gonna kind of get into, and people probably know her as Lois Lane from Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, and also her role in Desperate Housewives, if you're into that TV series. Um, then we have the other Bond woman, Michelle Yeoh, as Colonel Wei Lin, who is a Chinese spy and ends up being Bond's ally and main love interest in this. And Michelle Yeoh, um, honestly, a really, really, not saying that the other people in this movie aren't like big time actors and actresses or acting people. I'm not sure of the non-binary term for actors and I assume it's just actors. But she was known for being in Police Story 3, Super Cop with Jackie Chan. Also, probably now more known for her role in Memoirs of a Geisha. Also, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's probably the big one, and also its sequel. Oh, and she is really recently has been in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So still continue to act. Um, what's funny is that with her prominently being in martial arts films, she asked to do her own stunts, but was not allowed to due to insurance reasons, which I kind of get. But like, if someone's been in like if for future audiences, if you have not seen a Jackie Chan film, if you could do your own stunts in a Jackie Chan film, I think the insurance company should really just go, yeah, they know what they're doing. But um, after that, we're gonna go into something that's a little fun here. Jeffrey Palmer as Admiral Roebuck, uh, who's M's Navy colleague. The reason why I bring him up is I'm pretty sure this was done as kind of like an Easter egg for a sitcom that Judi Dench and Jeffrey Palmer are both in called As Time Goes By, which is a really funny sitcom that I really recommend people watching. Um, just to save time, I'm just gonna leave it with that. Just look up the premise on Wikipedia. And then for another person on the MI6 side, we have Colin Salmon as Charles Robinson, which is a role that he would play in The World Is Not Enough and Die Another Day. Colin Salmon's known for being General Zod in the series Krypton and James One-Shade in the Resident Evil uh, movie series. Then we got on the henchman side, we have Ricky Jay, who was a magician, as Henry Gupta, who is described as an American techno terrorist because this is the late 90s and the term hacker is obviously not attitudey enough.
Yeah.
And we have Guts Otto as Stamper, and he is known for his role as Klaus Adder in the comic fiction film Iron Sky, and also Otto Gunshi in the World War II biopic Downfall. We're not going to say who the biopic is of because I don't want the CCG people to get demonetized for mentioning a very very small awful person that stole Charlie Chaplin's mustache. Although I'm pretty sure we've said the name before, but whatever. um,
Oh man.
yeah. And then finally, for to add it on to like the German villains, although this guy's an American actor with a really terrible German accent. We have Vincent Schiavelli as Dr. Kaufman. Uh, people will know him from as quite a bit of stuff. He's definitely like, hey, it's that guy type of thing. He plays Buggy Ding Dong in Death to Smoochie. He also plays ABC executive Maynard Smith in the Andy Kaufman biopic Man on the Moon, and I just realized how ridiculous that is. It's like, oh yeah, he plays Dr. Kaufman, and he was also in a movie with Andy Kaufman, whatever. Um, but Ted here would probably know him as one of the teachers, the one that takes out John Cusack's girlfriend in the movie Better Off Dead.
Oh, what a gem.
The reason why I say that is because every time there's a ski scene, like a
Yeah.
ski chase in these movies, Ted yells out, "I want my $2," a reference to
It
that
is
movie.
it is such a
So,
gem of a shitty 80s movie. Oh man.
So I would not be, you know, I could not let that go going, "Hey, it's that guy from that movie," where Ted keeps referencing.
It's got raisins in it. You like raisins, Lane? Oh god, what a gem.
And oddly enough, in a, minor role as a crewman of the, British ship that gets sunk, Gerard Butler's in there, which did not recognize him. Did
Nope.
not go which, well, I'm probably gonna rewatch this film because, spoiler alert, I like it, and there's a couple of people that missed it, so I'm just like, it's an excuse to watch this again." So, I'm definitely going to be looking for Gerard Butler in in this movie. So, think that's what we kinda got so far on this. I do know that this movie was, plagued with some production issues. Like, they wanted to, film a lot of it action since some of it does take place in, uh, Ho Chi Minh City in, Vietnam. However, the Vietnamese government said no because, apparently a few people that were, like, bigwigs in the Vietnamese government saw GoldenEye and didn't really care for the pre-title sequence that referenced the fall of communism. So, um, yeah.
Fair.
So, they had to film it, yeah, somewhere else, and, this is also, the first movie, uh, since Moonraker where Bond does not use the, Walther PPK. He actually uses a Walther P99, which is, Walther's, uh, like, was, like, new pistol at the time, like, made to replace the PPK. That beats with Moon in my case, what I'm saying with Moonraker, I guess he wasn't shown with a pistol. But Bond will carry the P99 and all the way clear to Casino Royale, where in Quantum of Solace, Bond has the PPK again. So why they switched back? Well, I mean, why they switched back with Quantum of Solace as opposed to Casino Royale? You know, to because that was like the reboot franchise thing. I have no idea, but hey, they just decided to do it then. But obviously, Walther wanted to promote, the new P99, so the P99's used in the next in this Bond film and the next three. But that's all that I have right now. Also, would like to say that this is Roger Spadiswood's only Bond film, I believe. Yeah, this is the only Bond film that he's directed. So obviously, we're now getting into like the one shots, um, as opposed to like the long diatribe of like different people like directing multiple Bond films. So if we decide to like rank like directors, we're probably gonna like split that into like one shots in this category and then people that have directed multiple in another, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it checks out.
Kind of like near the end of the things, because the only person that we can really compare him to is Peter Hunt, just because Peter Hunt's only done one film,
Right.
and it's just kind of unfair to like compare people to like if they've done multiple.
Makes sense.
Although still better than Lewis Gilbert. um, all right, so we're gonna get into likes and dislikes as usual. If you haven't been following, we go from background to likes and dislikes, and overall thoughts and ranking. So, what do you want to do first? Likes, dislikes?
Yeah, we can run likes. I'll start if you want me to. Um, the cinematography in this movie was really good. It looked like the frame rate improved on the camera so that everything was more like really fluid. Camera work was really well done. The camera shots, especially in the intro, like added suspense throughout the whole thing. I just thought for the most part this movie was really, really well filmed. Um, I also thought we saw like a little bit of an adaptation to the Bond character, which was neat. There was definitely like an arrogant attitude that definitely like added some
Yeah.
volume to the character. It
As
was
much
good.
as Brosnan like nailed the role in GoldenEye, he definitely was more comfortable at being kind of like with like Connery from like Doctor No to From Russia with Love to Goldfinger. Like he got more comfortable once he figured out what he really wanted to do, even though he nailed the role right away. You know, it was obvious like he was a lot more comfortable in the role. While in this one, it's kind of like the same as in like nailed it the first time, but in this one, like he really started, you know, okay, this is what I want to do with Bond now that I kind of figured it out. That makes sense.
Yeah, it just it felt like, you know, an added dimension to the character that definitely put something else in this movie. Um, I thought the like the dialogue and the I guess the interaction between characters was really fantastic. Like I thought
Yeah,
characters had well built relationships that, you know, each felt unique from each other. You know, they used a lot of the background that you didn't get to see and have it had it develop the way characters interacted, but also you watched relationships between characters build, which was really, really cool. Um,
yeah. The acting in this movie, for the most part, is rather good. There's a few things where it's just like, but that's only with specific actors.
yeah, yeah. For the most part, I thought it did really well. The last thing I've got on my list here is just that it had a phenomenal pace. The movie just
Oh yeah,
continued in a really healthy fashion. Like it, most of these movies have felt pretty long, to be honest. Whether they drag or whether they don't, it does still feel like you're sitting there through a long movie. This one genuinely moved really quickly. You got from thing to thing. It didn't feel like you were sitting for a very long movie. It felt like maybe an hour, even though it was still just about two.
yeah. I mean,
It's
it's
really good.
119 minutes, so
Yeah, it was a really good
so
pace
it
though,
yeah, it's still like oh, it's actually a little bit shorter than a 2-hour film.
by a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's like well, I guess that proves our point. Like, you know, you cut a minute out.
Yeah. If it falls below 2 hours, it feels healthy.
Thunderball.
The moment it's 2 hours and a minute, come on now. Just kidding. But, uh,
um, but yeah, like I agree. I think there's a the best thing about this is honestly the characters. Um, and it's nice that there's actually a decent script behind it, unlike Man with the Golden Gun, where the actors are really, really good in it. It's just the script is kind of dog shit. um, but I also like speaking of like story, the villain plot is amazingly good and makes total freaking sense. Um like the whole point of um Elliot Carver pretty much doing this because China won't give him like broadcasting rights in their country, so therefore he tries to start a uh pretty much a war between the UK and the Chinese government while simultaneously causing a coup, which would basically kill everybody in the Chinese government except for this one person that's on Elliot Carver's side. Therefore, he gets a ratings boost by broadcasting the war, and also with the deal that he has with this general that's trying to start a coup, is able to get exclusive broadcasting rights in the country of China, which means he would be making a fuck ton of money. And on top of that, despite even like what it seems like the plan is like about ready to fall apart because like Bond does tell Carver Like, "Hey, you know, we informed our" I mean, Bond and Wayland are like, "Hey, we informed our governments." He's like, "Alright, my plan could still go because, like, if I wipe out the one side of the government, like, I still have" it's like, I wipe out the Chinese government, like, if the missile still launches, like, I still, you know, can get exclusive rights in China, so therefore I'm still making money and I can get asylum there with the rogue general. And it's just like it's kind of like the Blofeld thing in on Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's like, well, what about this? It's like, well, I'll just work my way up to the point where it matters.
Right.
So I like how like there isn't much unraveling with the plot. I also like how Jonathan Pryce plays Elliot Carver as probably one of the most unlikable people in the entire world. Like
Yeah.
he is extremely arrogant and completely insane. All he cares about is like like his media empire. And like I honestly think is probably the most despisable Bond villain that we've had at this point. Even like more so than Telly Savalas's Blofeld, and he killed Bond's wife.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's at the end of the movie. With this, it's like like spoiler alert, Jonathan Pryce kills his own wife because she goes back with Bond, which I'm sure Ted will probably talk about in dislikes. Or at least not in dislikes, but as in like advice for everybody here. More so life advice. Um but like he just you just think like, you know, it's like, well, okay, so he'll actually kill his own wife to get what he wants. And then to add it all off, where like Wei Lin tries like punching him, like he ends up like mocking her, doing like, you know, like basically like racist kung fu sounds. And it's just like, God, can he get any freaking lower? And then when his death finally comes, it's like, ooh. And I don't even care. The fact of the matter is, because and Jonathan Pryce has actually mentioned how stupid Elliot Carver is at this. But essentially, there's like a sea drill that he has that he, you know, sinks a ship to frame the Chinese with. But anyway, Bond kills him with that sea drill, and Elliot Carver has basically more than enough time to get away from the sea drill. However, doesn't, but it honestly doesn't matter because like for how unlikable Elliot Carver is, it's just a satisfying death. And it's really cool. I know Ted has complained about the Foley artists in a lot of Bond films of past. I'm not sure if Ted has any complaints with the Foley artists this time around.
It was okay for the most part.
All right.
Things felt smoother with what we were watching. So
But I will say this, I will give it to the Foley artists on this. Like Elliot Carver's screams blend into like the drill hitting this freaking console after it hits him. And it's just so cool of a sound effect that they were able to do that. Um Another thing that I really like is that this is probably the first Bond film that I can say that there's if there is any sexism in it, there's barely any. Like both female characters are actually very, very strong and very independent on what they're doing. And I'm so glad that Wei Lin does not get undercut as like a
absolutely.
damsel in distress. She just happened she get captured? Yeah, but she like bites her way out of it. So like it's I kind of compared it to like The Spy Who Loved Me, as in you have like two people of like, you know, different rival governments working together and then they end up like hooking up. This is done a lot better, especially since they save it to the end. So you have like the build up between Bond and Wei Lin. And then when they finally, like, you know, at the end of the movie, actually, you know, do what Bond does with, you know, every woman in this movie, he sleeps with her. at the end, and then you actually see like a connection that's actually built up, as opposed to like it coming out of nowhere with no like build up or connection, or as in like, hey, we just like survived this death defying thing. Let's screw. While in this thing, it's more so like we survived a whole bunch of death defying things and actually developed a connection. So now let's screw
Yeah.
on a boat. And this is the last Bond movie that uh ends with Bond embracing the Bond woman on a boat. So no longer a trope so far.
We'll see. See,
Yeah.
I have every reason to not believe you. I'm just saying.
Um let's see now. Where was I? I have to say that I really do also like Samantha Bond as Bunny Penny. I think she just in 2 films already kind of stands out as opposed to like Carolyn Bliss. Of course, Carolyn Bliss had like what 2 scenes,
Yeah.
but I like how like Moneypenny is like very like playfully antagonistic towards Bond.
Right.
Um, and I also love Judi Dench in this movie. Like she is shown a lot more in this, and it's just like I am not going to complain about more Judi Dench.
Right. And it's another strong, powerful performance. It's not, it's not just somebody to fill the role. Like they act again, characters that have been thoroughly developed that have intent.
It seems that every character, for the most part, in this movie matters.
Yeah. I would say that's true.
And now we're gonna go with dislikes. I'm pretty sure Ted probably has a little bit more than I do, so
Genuinely, my list is pretty short. But I know that there are a handful of things that, like, I guess had more impact to the movie, right?
Yeah.
So this movie obviously, like, it played a whole lot around, technology and advancing into a modern era, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the villain was a hacker, not like that. Like based
Well, I
around
mean,
technology.
yeah, I
So,
mean, one of the villains was a hacker.
well, okay, but like for having so much like advanced technology, I thought that the effects that they were using didn't keep up with the technology that they were demonstrating. I thought a lot of the effects just got kind of weird and felt a little dated, especially compared to how well the rest of the movie was done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree. It probably also doesn't help that Bond's gadget, as in he can drive his car with his phone. We're about like pretty much there.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, like I was mentioning Ted, like that phone screen that he was using, I'm like, that's like 240p. Then I remembered that's high definition back then for like digital
Yeah,
stuff.
it was innovative and it had, a lot of cool stuff with technology, but I think them being so advanced with the technology made a lot of the effects and like the way that the movie played out, especially through action scenes, not great.
Yeah.
I thought that there were a lot, like, as much as I loved the cinematography, I thought that there were a handful of very good scenes or potentially good scenes that got held back by rare instances of bad cinematography.
Yeah, I agree. The helicopter scene where the helicopter's like going to like try to chop them to death.
Yeah, there's a lot, like, for the most part, it's filmed really well, but when it needs to be filmed really well, then all of a sudden it isn't. And I found it very, very strange. Um, my next couple of complaints are smaller, just annoyances more than anything else. First off, I am very convinced that nobody in the production of this movie has any idea what an MP5 does. Like, none whatsoever.
I knew that was coming.
None.
What
Like,
are you talking about? It's not a sniper rifle that's automatic?
no, like, man, your range is not that great. It's just shit out a whole bunch of bullets. It's not about like accuracy from 600 meters away. Like, it's not gonna happen for you, dude. Like, really, really frustrating.
Pure Genesis says otherwise in Call of Duty.
I I just like, and the problem is that like it's not just the like. First off, it's not a sniper rifle, right? But then there's other places where it's just like, hey, this would have happened better with an MP5 than it actually did. Like they fucked it up on both ends, and it was like I think it was just supposed to be, hey, hold this and make gun noises. Genuinely, if it was a white piece of paper that had a black Sharpie written on it that says gun noises, in a lot of points of this movie, it was that. Like that just worthless knowledge of weapons. It not good.
Which I
Um,
can't say gets any better because I never really I mean, me not really having that knowledge. I mean, granted, I assume like an MP5 wouldn't have like that accuracy of a range, but like to me, not having that knowledge of like guns besides probably like deer rifles and shotguns, you know?
right, like I don't know. It's just, like it should stand to reason that if the thing can pump out 30 bullets in less than a couple of seconds, right? Like it probably is
Right.
going to kick a little bit. Like it just they do some weird stuff with it, and it's not the most egregious one in the series by a lot, but it happened enough times, and they were wrong in enough different ways that it became really frustrating to watch. The last thing I had, Stallman said I was going to get into at 9 a.m. Don't text your ex, man. Like just don't do it. There was uh they could have avoided a lot of dumb shit if he just stayed away from his ex, you know? Like most of this movie could have just
She
not
would have
happened.
still been alive.
Right. She'd still be alive. A lot of dumb shit would have gotten avoided. Just don't hit up your ex, man. It's a solid life lesson to learn. You all need to know it. And if you need it reinforced with something as significant as death, then you can check this one out and you can see. Like don't hit up your ex. Don't do it ever. It's bad.
When someone tries to hit up their ex, Ted's just gonna show. It's like, have you seen Tomorrow Never Dies?
Oh god. It was something. Something.
uh, yeah, I have a couple complaints. My main one is I think the henchmen are kind of dog shit in this movie. um, and I would say I'm not as bad as I used to think that they were. I still think that Richard Stamper is not really that interesting. It's like, okay, we're just gonna get like some German dude, bleach his hair blonde, and he is, the henchman that is, you know, unsusceptible to pain. And guess what he does since his last name is Stamper? He stamps on things, which I think they only
Very
use like twice.
very
uh,
uncreative.
and then you have Ricky Jay, who I feel bad for, but at the same time, because originally, like, because Gupta's kind of like a nothing henchman. There was scenes where, since Ricky Jay is a magician, he was known for his card throwing. They were actually going to showcase that, and I showed Ted like the deleted scenes that had that. And unfortunately, the camera technology at the time couldn't really pick it up very well. So therefore, like the quirk that actually kind of made him stand out, uh, wasn't there.
And I will say that like it was I'll give them credit for like recognizing their limitations and not trying to make another shitty effect where it needed to be there, but I think also not showcasing those kinds of things detracted from his character that made him more boring, and I feel like a lot of the he was a magician like just became kind of worthless because they did cut that stuff out.
Right, right. And um I'm not really gonna give Ricky Jay too much shit. His line delivery is kind of like uh poor. Say with like uh Groot's Auto a little bit. And I'm gonna cut Ricky Jay some slack because like he's not an actor, he's a magician. But and Goat's Auto, I'm going to pretty much associate this with the times because this is like a movie of the late 90s and it is very much a 90s movie. Um and with that being said, a lot of the dialogue from the bad guys is has that late 90s attitude. It's
Yeah.
as in like, yeah, we're the bad guys.
Yeah.
It's like Ricky Jay's just
It's
it's
like
just
the
like, yeah, the missile is operational. Yeah, bad
it's
guy stuff.
it's the watered down version of the GI Joe, like it's them yelling Cobra, right? Like that's what they're doing. They're just really self indulgent and you know like Stoneman's right. It's like really 90s bad guys. It's
It
just
doesn't ruin the movie, but like it is a little distracting, and I'm just like, oh, the '90s.
what a
um,
time.
I also have to say, like, despite Vincent Schiavelli being a pretty decent actor, that German accent is comically bad and stereotypical.
It's
It's like,
overabundant, I
yes,
think.
Mister.
Yeah, like that I mean, it's not a terrible accent. It's just like way overdone to the point where you know that it's not real.
um. That being said, I will say this as go back to positives because I forgot about that. There are a few comedic moments, which one of them is like the Kaufman thing, as in like he's basically going to kill Bond, but obviously Bond gets miraculously saved because like they can't because Bond has something that he stole from them and they can't get into Bond's car, so therefore Kaufman's just like, can you tell us how to get into your car? It's like this is embarrassing and I'm a professional. And then like it's kind of like with Octopussy, it's there for like a brief, there's some comedic moments that are there for like a brief second, so it doesn't really like come out of the movie or take you out of the movie as in just like, well, that's freaking stupid. Like it gives you enough to actually chuckle a little bit, then boom, the seriousness, kicks in. Um I but um other than that, I'd say the action scenes uh are also somewhat a little ridiculous. But like that doesn't like uh take away a whole lot from the movie. Like I'm not gonna equate the uh saw blade at the end of Bond's car that miraculously is at the right height to cut that cable. Um
That's so frustrating.
I'm not gonna say that that's as egregious as the rocket launcher AK in the
I
Living
mean,
Daylights.
fair, but
but there are still a few things that, despite the movie being fun and everything, it does take you out of your suspense of disbelief at times. And I think I'll probably go with something that's kind of neutral on this, and that is the theme music itself. And by the way, should I actually mention who does the theme song?
yeah, yeah.
All right, and it is also a background thing. Apparently, the song at the end of the credits and stuff like that was the song the director wanted to use, or better yet, the director wanted to write the theme song for this movie, but they told him no. So he just had, basically like, well, I'll have my own version with blackjack and hookers, and had that at the end. But the actual like Bond theme, "Tomorrow Never Dies," and you would never guess it, and it's done by Sheryl Crow.
It's funny because like Stallman pointed it out as we were listening to it, and it sounded like a No Doubt song. Like I genuinely thought it was Gwen Stefani until it came to like had to hit high notes, and they just weren't there. At least
Which I will have to say, it's not as bad as For Your Eyes Only, and thank
it's
God that Sheryl Crow has a raspy voice, because if that rasp wasn't on those high points, it would have killed that
I,
song, like, right
I
then and there.
yeah, I shouldn't say that the high notes weren't there. They just weren't a Gwen Stefani high note. Like
Right.
it was good. Her voice was surprising. I genuinely would have never.
I would have never thought she had that range.
No, that was good.
Like, and it's such a weird choice when you think about it now, but when you actually kind of look back, she was huge then. Like everybody knows her as for like all I want to do is have some fun, but she's got like a lot more hits than that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Product of the times. It was a for the time it was fitting. It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it lives up to the same caliber that we've had other artists on these
Yeah,
intros.
like Gladys Knight, Paul McCartney,
Right, like they're
Duran Duran.
much more lasting artists than Sheryl Crow, but for the time, I feel like it was a solid enough choice.
Yeah, and it's not like Sheryl Crow didn't have a lasting career. Like she had a career beyond the '90s, but it
Oh,
was like
sure,
'90s and early 2000s, and
short-lived
but
American pop.
yeah, but still something that I would not associate a style with hers, and it makes me wonder. Since Billie Eilish does the theme for No Time to Die, I wonder, like, within, like, God, 97 to
25 years,
2022,
bud.
25 years. I wonder if, like, 25 years from, like, when No Time to Die's release, like, people are gonna think the same thing, like, "Oh, Billie Eilish, wow." You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Time will only tell.
I was gonna say you can never gamble on how long a pop artist is gonna last around, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
Right, I mean, for God's sakes, Bryan Adams had a reign of terror in the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah.
So, that's kinda what I have with that. I'd like to add, because this kinda goes with my overall thoughts of the film. I fucking love this movie. Um, and not to really go into, like, rankings a whole lot, but I think this is a better movie than GoldenEye. I think this is probably one of the most underrated Bond films that we watched. So I guess this kinda goes along with, like, Octopussy, like, a lot better than I remember it being, and it shocks me that this gets, like, mixed reviews and why. And I know kinda why I think why this gets ranked below GoldenEye, and I think that's just 'cause people have more of a nostalgic feeling for GoldenEye because the video game was, A, legendary, and B, like, it's the GoldenEye is a lot of, like, everybody's first Bond movie.
Right.
Um, by the way, I've never played the Tomorrow Never Dies video game. I heard it's not that great.
Yeah, it didn't last
S
well enough to be
Right.
the same hit that Goldeneye was, but
Right, right. Which I will say when we get to the next one, The World Is Not Enough, the N64, The World Is Not Enough is actually a really damn good game. It's a shame that it was released at the end of the console's lifespan, so therefore no one really talks about it. But, yeah, it's it's crazy to think that this gets, like, mixed reviews. I think it holds up. And honestly, with, like, a lot of stuff that's kinda going today, holds up now more than it did back then, because people actually kinda laughed at the plot and thought it was kinda ludicrous
yeah.
that there would be such a disinformation campaign. And there was even, like, a review, and I have a feeling that this was done before, like, 2016 or 2020. But someone said, "Well, with the internet, this couldn't happen now. You couldn't get away with, like, hiding something, this villain plot." And it's like, yeah, well, history showed that, you're wrong.
I I mean, like, I guess the internet would make it a lot more difficult to get away with this plot, but I
At the same time, if you knew how to manipulate the internet, like.
right. Mean, I guess, but again, the plot would have been more difficult, but not impossible.
Right. But it's just kinda to me, it's honestly kinda scary on how it's like you kinda think about it, it's like, this is actually kinda possible. It'd have to be done in a more realistic way, of course, like, no one's gonna fucking sea drill a Navy ship
Right.
on a stealth boat. But, it is kind of we're kinda getting into, like, the villains that are a little bit too close to home,
Yeah.
which we'll get into, the villain for, Quantum of Solace, because I will spoil this. His villain plot actually happened. So, Um, that being said, with all that, with like the realistic plot, good characters, um, just everything that it does good. I'm honestly having a little bit of trouble putting this on this list. It's above GoldenEye, but I'm not sure where to put it higher
Uh,
than that, you
well,
know?
first, remind me where I put GoldenEye because I didn't update my list.
Number 7.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was right behind. Okay.
The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah.
I swear to God, we're gonna have some fucking talking to if you put this below The Man with the Golden Gun.
I so
If you're going to, that's fine. I'm just
it
leading into.
it's difficult for me because like I think it definitely belongs above GoldenEye. My gripes with it were pretty minor and in the grand scheme of things forgivable for what the movie was, where it was made, all of that. Except for texting your ex, it's never been okay. Um, I think this is tough. I think I'm gonna put it sixth. I think I'm gonna put it right between On Her Majesty's Secret Service and The Man with the Golden Gun. Um, it
All
didn't
right.
it didn't jump out to me as a phenomenal movie like some of the other ones higher on the list have. I mean, obviously we know how much I love From Russia with Love and Thunderball, Octopussy. Like there were some really good movies that I genuinely really thoroughly enjoyed. I don't know that I'd go back to this one necessarily, but it was much better than most of the stuff that has been on this in throughout this series, and I think it should be notably better than Man with the Golden Gun or Goldeneye.
Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna put this at number 3 for me. Between GoldenEye From Russia with Love. As much as since I like this film, I think it's more so like with me being more unfamiliar with it. If that helps, like that I'm kind of like having like, ooh, wow, I didn't really notice this. I didn't really notice that. And since this is kind of like, I'd say the Bond film that I'm least familiar with, as opposed to like the latest one, just because it just came out.
Right.
Um, so therefore, it's kind of more of like a kid with a new toy excitement with it. But at the same time, like On Her Majesty's Secret Service and From Russia with Love are so well put together that I'm gonna really it's gonna take more than a kid with a new toy to really like knock those down a peg.
That's fair.
So I'm putting it at number 3. Uh but however, if this keeps on going with the trajectory, if The World Is Not Enough is better than Tomorrow Never Dies, and I remember liking it better than that, there's a good chance that From Russia with Love for me might at least go down a peg.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
Maybe.
yeah.
That's a huge maybe. If anything, it might hit like it might just go, oh no, it's number 3 again, you know?
Right. Right. Well, we'll keep an eye open for it, but unless you got anything else, I think that about wraps us up, right?
um, no, I don't really have anything else. It's nice that we are able to do this in the morning as opposed to like us doing this later during the night.
Yeah.
But
And cheers to 8 a.m. beers.
sh-
Um. Anyway, I think that'll wrap this one up. By the time this one gets posted, there'll still be a handful more movies to watch on the Discord with us on Tuesdays. So you can hop in the Discord. The link for that will be in the
yeah,
description.
I think we're still 4 ahead.
Yeah, I think it is 4. Because I just uploaded another batch. I think it's 4. I think. Anyway, so there still should be a couple movies left by the time this one gets posted. So if you want to
Yeah, I
join
think
us,
we're probably. I think let's see. Tomorrow, say world is not. Oh, wait, no, this will get post. With, yeah, world is not enough.
math is hard.
Okay. I think it's going to be one of the Casino Royales. It might not be the Daniel Craig one, but it might be the other two, which I haven't decided which one of the other two Casino Royales we're watching first.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep you guys posted. Like I said, there should still be a few movies left to watch. You can find both of us not only in that Discord but also on Twitch, Stallman at Traductus and myself at Ted Green Eagles. I think that's about all I got. So we'll see you next time.
See ya.